people here. Obviously the drink I'm going to make today is in a kettle because we're making a Kettle One cocktail, and the drink's called the Kettle's Brew. The reason I've called the drink the Kettle's Brew is because I decided to make a warm sharing cocktail today. Main reasons being because obviously it's near to the C word. I don't like to say it, but you know, Christmas. So I wanted to do something quite seasonal. I was also trying in my head to think of what kind of drink I could do that would actually match kind of the age of Kettle One as a vodka, as a brand, because Kettle One is one of the oldest vodkas in the world, as I'm sure you all know, over 300 years old. So what I've actually decided to do is make a vodka punch, because the only thing I could think of that was older than Kettle One was the punch. As I'm sure many of you know, the punch was in fact the predecessor of the modern cocktail, and before Prohibition, before the 19th, 18th century, the kind of things that people were drinking in their houses, they weren't cocktails, they were punches. So I'm going to start off by putting a bit of water in the kettle just to keep the kettle boiling, as they say, and just to sort of create the warmth, and then I'm going to add everything else. So to talk a little bit more about Kettle One, as I'm sure you all know, it's our house vodka, and the reason for that is because it's such a fantastic vodka to use in mixed drinks, mainly because of how pure it is, 100% fine wheat. And what's really great about Kettle One is that as a brand and as a spirit, they are combining tradition with modernity, because they're using the old copper bottle still distillate with modern column distillate to create a really nice blend of vodka, which makes a really, really fantastic drink. And Carl Nole, who is the current owner of Kettle One, talks about Kettle One as a harmony between crispness and sophistication. That is his way of describing Kettle One. The way I would describe my cocktail today is a harmony of tradition and modernity, because I'm making basically the oldest kind of cocktail in the world. I'm making a vodka punch, not a rum punch. I'm making a vodka punch, but I'm just trying to jazz it up a little bit and alchemize it and just make it relevant to my concept. So obviously, as I'm sure you all know, we do actually do share cocktails at the Alchemist. We do them in kettles, and all I'm doing is I'm just using a really nice simple punch recipe and just making it a little bit more modern. So while I've been talking, I've added some caster sugar. I've added about 22 grams of caster sugar, and I've added 100 ml of water. As well, to add length to the punch, I've added 100 ml of freshly pressed apple juice. The reason I've decided to do that is because I want my punch to be as fresh and tasty as possible. So obviously the fresher the ingredients, the better. So just to avoid a kind of like quite synthetic, like not very tasty cocktail, I decided to use caster sugar instead of gum, and I'm just going to stir that now to make sure that the caster sugar dissolves with the water. I've also decided to use fresh apple juice because the nature of my drink is that I'm going to hopefully make it quite a Christmassy drink. So I want kind of to have some apple notes in there, kind of like warm baked apple pie, which hopefully will go really nicely with the rest of my ingredients.
Is that fresh press?
Yeah. So what we have here now are the basic non-alcoholic components of the punch. So talking a little bit about punch as a style of drink, the word punch is actually derived from a Hindustani word meaning five. So the Hindustani word, why the hell did they think to call punch the number 5? The reason being because in the times when punch was being made regularly by the aristocrats in the New World, they would use 5 ingredients, and those 5 ingredients were sweetness, sourness, alcohol, water and spice. So obviously I've added my water, I've added my sweetness with the caster sugar and the alcohol. Now I'm going to add my sour element, so I'm going to add about 60 ml of lime juice.
Why did you change the bottle?
of represent the copper pot stills in Kettle One.
Why did you change the design of this bottle years ago?
They wanted it to be more representative of the heritage of the brand. Obviously, it's a family company. It's 10 generations of family distillers. It's also worth saying at this point that despite the fact that Kettle One sells in such high volumes, every batch of Kettle One is actually checked by a member of the Kettle One family. So the big thing about Kettle One is keeping it in the family and actually trying to create a bit of a community with the vodka. Obviously, you have the Kettle One League, and Carl Nole, the owner, is really big on trying to create this community with Kettle One. He describes it as a Kettle One family, and he says every bartender that encourages Kettle One is part of that Kettle One family. Okay, so I put in, just while I was talking there as well, a little bit of zest to boost the citrus notes in the drink, but rather than use orange, lime or grapefruit, I've actually gone with the clementine, just because for me the clementine is a real symbol of like winter and Christmas, and I just think it's a little bit sweeter than an orange, so it's just going to make it a little bit sweeter. Okay, next thing I'm going to add Regal Rogue, which I've already discussed earlier in my presentation. So there's a lot of vermouths out there at the moment. It's kind of trendy. It's a bit of an up-and-coming thing. Inverse martinis and aperitivo drinks. But this vermouth in particular is one of my favourite that's come out recently. It's an Australian vermouth using Shiraz Rosé. I'm going to add about 60 ml of that. Just going to turn this down a little bit. And then lastly, obviously I'm going to add Kettle One. So my punch is to serve 4 people, so I'm going to put 125 ml of Kettle One. Just try that now. Okay, just give that a little stir. So as I've said, like when I envision a cocktail, when I'm designing it for a competition like this where I'm representing the brand, what I'm thinking is how it would actually fit on the menu, and would it actually fit on the menu. Obviously I've made a traditional vodka punch, but it wouldn't really be Alchemist if I didn't add that last final touch. So that's the last bit. Garnish with a bit of clementine and clove just for that extra spice. Obviously, because it is nearly that time of the year, there you go, Greg. One for you as well. Thank you very much. Thanks for watching my presentation.